All right, let's jump right into it. Have you ever wondered when a relationship actually ends? Because according to behavioral expert Olivia Alexa, it is almost never at the actual moment of the breakup. In today's explainer, we're going to unpack this fascinating and honestly slightly terrifying behavioral map of female psychology. Specifically, we're zooming in on 5 hidden clues a woman leaves before she actually pulls the plug on a relationship. The whole premise we're exploring today revolves around this really specific, almost invisible gap in time. There's this window between the exact moment she makes the internal decision to leave and the moment you actually find out about it. And let me tell you, that period is absolutely packed with critical information if you just know what to look for. Because it all boils down to one simple, kind of brutal truth. She knows before you do. During that unseen gap in time, she isn't acting maliciously, and she isn't operating in secret. Instead, she's actually leading a trail of completely unencrypted everyday evidence. We're talking about signals sitting right out in the open that almost every guy walks right past, day after day, just because he doesn't recognize the pattern.
Look at step 2 here, because this is the crucial point. She is leaving in layers. She's not just blowing up and leaving loudly all at once. By removing one single layer of emotional attachment at a time, it makes it incredibly easy to just slip off the next one. By the time that final break happens in step 3, she's actually been in the process of leaving you for months.
Which brings us to phase 1 of this whole departure process. Beware the false piece.
Okay, so this first clue is what we call the correction cutoff, and honestly, it's totally counterintuitive. Think about it. When a woman is deeply invested in you, she actually cares about the version of you that shows up to the world, right? So she's going to gently correct you. She'll respectfully argue a point or call you out if you're making a bad call. But when that suddenly stops, it means she's disconnected. She has literally stopped caring if you improve simply because you are no longer a part of the long-term plan she's building in her head. And man, this contrast right here is exactly where so many guys just completely miss the boat. A lot of men will breathe this massive sigh of relief. They're thinking, oh my God, finally, the nagging has stopped, we are getting along perfectly. They are totally oblivious to the reality. That so-called nagging, that was actually proof of her emotional investment. Her sudden silence is just apathy. A woman who lets everything slide is a woman who's stopped caring. And that slides us right into hidden clue number 2, the ease trap. I gotta say, this one is probably the most dangerous signal on the entire map, purely because it feels so incredible. She stops making demands, she stops needing things from you. She completely stops pushing you for more time or more attention or more effort. On the surface, you're probably sitting there thinking she's finally calm, settled, and comfortably low maintenance. Like, this is the exact version of the relationship you always wanted. But the reality is starkly different. When you care about an outcome in a relationship, you fight for it. You make it crystal clear what you need. When she goes quiet on all of that, she isn't suddenly peaceful. She is already halfway out the door, and she's probably preparing to source those emotional needs somewhere else.
All right, let's shift gears into phase 2, the language of leaving. This is where things get a bit spooky. Her subconscious mind actually starts to literally edit you out of her vocabulary, totally under the radar. We call this our third clue, the pronoun drift. You really have to listen closely here, not just to what she says about the future, but exactly how she says it. This is an unconscious shift where her everyday language just naturally catches up to where her mind has already gone. Listen to the difference here. It is subtle, but it's devastating. A woman who's staying uses collective pronouns. Hey, we should try that new restaurant, or what are we doing for the holidays? But a woman who's already decided to leave, she drifts right into the singular. I would love to go there eventually, or you should really check that out. She isn't doing this on purpose to be mean. She has just mentally reorganized her future, and you're just not in it anymore. And that pronoun shift perfectly tees up hidden clue number 4, the horizon edit. Now, this doesn't happen during some massive relationship-defining argument. Not at all. It happens in those small, casual, totally random conversations about the future on a random Tuesday afternoon. She unconsciously stops seeing or referencing you in the landscape of her tomorrow. It's this super slow, methodical erasing process. And honestly, guys, almost never notice when this edit starts because it happens one tiny little step at a time. It's one less we, then it's one less us, then it's one less future plan that you're part of. It's only when a guy looks back months later that he realizes her vision of where she's going has become a completely solo picture, and his name hasn't been mentioned in her plans once. Now we hit the final stretch, phase 3, the broken connection. This phase is marked by this deep physical and emotional void, which brings us to our fifth and final clue, the initiation freeze. Put simply, she just stops reaching for you first. And again, this isn't dramatic. She might still text back if you message her. She'll still be physically sitting right there in the same room with you. But those spontaneous, out-of-nowhere reaches for connection, they are entirely gone. No random texts just to say she's thinking of you. No reaching for your hand first.
This distinction right here is absolutely massive. She is not actively pushing you away, which, by the way, is exactly why it's so incredibly hard to spot. She has simply stopped pulling towards you. When a woman is emotionally connected, she searches for you, physically and verbally. When that completely stops, guys usually just assume she's stressed from work, or maybe she's just tired. They completely miss the painful reality that the invisible emotional string pulling her towards them has already snapped.
So how do we make sense of all this? Let's move to unlocking the pattern.
If you take anything away from this explainer, let it be this. Absolutely none of these clues are going to announce themselves with a flashing red light. Here is the complete pattern. You've got the correction cutoff, the pronoun drift, the initiation freeze, the ease trap, and the horizon edit. Individually, they just disguise themselves as totally ordinary everyday moods. But when you put them all together, they provide a highly legible map of female psychology. Recognizing this pattern literally transforms a deeply confusing emotional experience into a clear, readable set of signals.
This entire comprehensive framework comes straight from Olivia Alexa's book, Attraction Secrets. She designed it specifically to turn the lights on for men who are just tired of being blindsided at the end of a relationship. It's all about making these behavioral patterns legible. That way you know exactly what is happening while the interaction is actually still salvageable, rather than sitting around wondering what you missed when it's already way too late. So, as we wrap up today's explainer, I really want to leave you with this final thought. As you reflect on the everyday, ordinary interactions in your own life right now, ask yourself, are you truly seeing the reality of the situation and reading the clues? Or are you just enjoying the illusion of a false peace, completely unaware that you're about to be blindsided? Thanks for joining me on this deep dive, and seriously, keep your eyes open.